Hello everybody, my name is Big Large and welcome back to the Kill Count. Today we're covering one of my favorite movies of all time, Oldboy.
Loosely adapted from the Japanese manga of the same name, the director Park Chan-wook cut a lot of the plot out. I'd like to say this is the best way to consume the story since it doesn't inherit the pacing issues and the filler from the manga. A lot of people don't know this, but this is the second movie in Park's Vengeance trilogy, coming after Mr. Vengeance and before Lady Vengeance, all tied by the theme of, you guessed it, vengeance. Maybe I'll cover those movies one day, but as of right now, I got bigger fish to fry. This movie is actually hilarious too, so if you can watch it on your own, please do. Oldboy follows a man who's mysteriously imprisoned for 15 years without explanation and then suddenly released and given 5 days to find his captor. As he seeks answers, he uncovers a dark and twisted conspiracy that challenges his sanity and sense of justice. Can he solve the mystery in time? Let's find out and get to the kills.
By the way, I was sick when I recorded this, so if the audio sounds kind of off, that's why.
The movie opens up with this badass holding up another guy by his tie so he doesn't fall off the building. He says to the man he wants to tell him his story. When the dangling fella asks who he is, we get a smash cut to earlier in the story when he wasn't so badass. Our main character, Odesu, is drunk and belligerent in a police station. He says it's his daughter's birthday and he got her a pair of wings as a present. It's actually sick. He demands that the police let him go, but they refuse his request. Apparently, most of the scene was improvised. His friend, Ju Huan, bails him out and he calls his daughter. He lets his friend talk to her and he just disappears? 2 months later, he's locked up again, but by some unknown and unseen captors. He goes from begging to know how much longer he'll be in here, to threatening the worker, and then back to begging. The worker remains silent and he crashes out. We see the inside of the cell he's forced to stay in, and it just looks like a hotel with a bathroom and a TV. Over some narration, he says he doesn't know if it would have been harder or easier if he'd known he'd be there for 15 years. There's a quote on the wall that says, "Laugh and the world laughs with you. Weep and you weep alone." This comes from a famous poem by Ella Wheeler Hillcock. In another verse, she says, "Rejoice and men will seek you, grieve and they'll turn and go. They want full measure of all of your pleasure, but they do not need your woe." Yeah, that's pretty good. Every once in a while, they gas him so they can clean him and the room up. While watching the TV, the only thing there really is to do in that bitch, he learns that his ex-wife was killed, and he's the main suspect. I'm not gonna lie y'all, that would ruin my day. He feels an ant crawling under his skin, then all of a sudden he's covered in him. He starts tweaking and uses a mirror to try to, off himself. 3 years pass and he's still in the house. He mentioned he got kidnapped by the man that passes by Juan. The television is his only way of knowing how much time has passed. It's also his school, his church, his friend, and his lover. With his post-nut clarity, he makes a list of all the people he's wronged and the bad things he's done. Damn, he fills out the whole journal with it. While he wonders who put him in that room, he trains to fight him. One day, he got an extra chopstick with his food, so he used it to tunnel his way out. He does a stick and poke tack to tally how much years he's been in there. As he tunnels and trains, we see important moments in Korean history. After 15 years, he finally tunnels through the wall and feels the rain from outside. He has a bunch of worries about what he'll do when he gets out. They gas him and he hides a hole before he knocks out. When he wakes up, we get this fire scene.
당신은 초원위에 누워 있습니다. 종소리가 들리면 당신은 고개를 돌려서 아래를 내려다봅니다. 푸른 잔디가 끝없이 펼쳐진 들판입니다. 찬란한 햇빛이 비추고 산들바람이 붑니다.
It turns out he's not on a field, but a rooftop. He sees another human being for the first time in a decade and a half, and he relishes in it. Why is he letting this happen? The man asked, "Even though I'm no better than a beast, don't I have the right to live?" And Odesu repeats his question, finding personal meaning in it. The man starts crying and falls backwards, and he catches him, giving us the full context of the scene at the start of the movie. He looks around and sees that this is the place he got kidnapped from, or at least it used to be before they put some buildings over top of it. He tells the guy to die a little later while he tells him his story. When it's his turn to listen, Above in French gets up and leaves. 15 years in the can left him not knowing how to act around a woman, so he stays as far away from her as possible in the elevator. As he walks off with her sunglasses, we see the man in the room fall to his death, giving us our first kill of the movie. Why do you have to take the dog with him, man? What the hell? He knows there's almost nothing he can do and no one he can go to because he's a fugitive. He runs into this gang and takes a cig out of one of their mouths. They try to jump him, so he puts his prison training to use. Later that night, while he watches some fishies swimming outside a restaurant, some jabroni hands him a wallet and a cell phone. Since the wallet is filled with money, he goes into the eatery and requests something alive. He says she looks familiar and that he probably recognized the woman from the TV in the hotel, and they get a call. Desu asks him who he is, and the man on the phone wants him to guess. He throws out a bunch of names, but none of them are right. The mystery man says that his identity doesn't matter, but the reason he's doing it does. He implores him to think of all the terrible things he's done over the years. He ends the phone call by telling him to hurry up. The woman brings his request, a live octopus, and he bites its head off and swallows the tentacles. A woman's touch is enough to knock him out, so he falls asleep right then and there. The sushi cook takes him back to her place. She asks him if what he wrote in his journal is true, and he snatches it out of her hand. He says that he got sick with the flu, and she says she had to give him suppositories. She goes into the bathroom, and he tries and fails to hey her. What the hell? He apologizes as he gets dressed, and she said she had it coming since she kind of led him on by bringing him to her place. She introduces herself as Mi-do and promises to ride his disco stick later. She yaps his ear off about the stuff he wrote in his journal, like the ants, but he stays silent. The next day, she poses as a reporter and asks around about Dae-soo's daughter. She learns that she's been adopted and moved out the country. He gives up on trying to find her and shifts his focus to our mystery man. While in there, he was fed dumplings every day, so he tries every restaurant in the area to see if he can pinpoint the exact location he got it from. Mi-do logs onto the Korean equivalent of Omegle. Damn, y'all remember Omegle? She was dangerous as hell, but I kinda miss it. She's talking to her online friend Evergreen about their favorite movies. When Dae-soo comes into frame, he starts taunting him. Our titular character storms out and claims he can't trust her because she's been talking to his captor this whole time. He finds a restaurant that's been delivering his prison food and chases down the delivery driver to the location. When he gets up there, he confronts one of the guards with the claw end of a hammer he stole from his new friend. We get a standoff between them when the man about to draw his knife, but our protag smiles and kills him off screen. He breaks into the monitor room and finds that he wasn't the only one that got locked up. He asks the man, Pak Chae-woon, why he was locked up, but he won't budge. So he ties him up and says he's gonna rip out a tooth for every year he was trapped there. Oh fuck, I don't wanna see this. After a few teeth, he confesses and says that the call was recorded and shows his torturer where the tape was. When he leaves, he's confronted by all of their goons. In an iconic one take, he fights through but gets jumped and stabbed. He plays dead and surprise attacks him. Although he kicks their asses, he doesn't kill anyone. He makes it to the end of the corridor just to find an elevator full of more goons. He clearly brutalized these guys way more than the other because unlike the hallway man who surrendered, these guys just ragdoll on the ground. As he leaves, he collapses in the middle of the street. A kind stranger gets him into a taxi and calls him by his real name. He wakes up at Mi-do's place, all bandaged and stitched up. He listens to the tape with the phone call and learns that the whole reason he was locked up was because he would talk too much. My ass would have been sentenced long ago if that's all it took to lock a nigga up. The next day, he visits his homeboy at his new internet cafe. Back in the day, they didn't have computers in the palm of your hand, so you had to go to an internet cafe to play Balloon's Tower Defense. The only ones still standing now are in third world countries. Ju-hwan embraces his bestie after not seeing him for years. He plays a tape for him and asks if he knows anyone that can hate him that much, but there's too many people to narrow it down to just one. They log into the site Mi-do was using to talk to Evergreen to look for him, but he finds them first and sends a poem telling him to free himself. When he gets home, he ties up the woman that took him in when he was homeless and emphasizes his distrust for her. He gets a call from his friend saying he found Evergreen, and then he's in the apartment next to Mi-do. He rushes across the street and bursts the door open to see Evergreen standing there waiting for him. He says that he has until July 5th to figure out who he is and why he did that to him. He says that if he's successful, then he'll kill himself instead of Mi-do. He says he can't keep the women in his life safe, and he crashes out on him and threatens to kill him. He tells his bodyguard not to intervene and says that if he dies, the answer to the question dies with him. This choice makes our MC back off. Big Green says that he got a pacemaker installed and that he begged the surgeon to put a switch in there so he can turn his shit off whenever he wants. I mean, he can only press it once. Dae-soo presses the claw of the hammer to his head, but he says that if he tries to hurt him, he'll just turn his shit off. As our antagonist gets up and leaves, he tells him that revenge made him feel so much better and that the pain of losing 15 years of his life, his wife, and his daughter will all go away once he had his vengeance. He also says to check on his friend. He rushes back across the street, busts down the door again, and finds Mi-do tied up and exposed. Oh, hell no. Pak came to get his get back. They apprehend him, keep his jaw open, and threaten to pull his teeth out. Dae-soo is ready to pull something else. He has a knife hidden up his sleeve and is not afraid to use it. This is just like that other scene before, but with Dae-soo on the other end of the claw. Before he can, the security guard gets a call from Evergreen telling him to get to Steppen and sends a man with a briefcase full of won to his door. The money convinces him, but he gets one last swing in before he leaves. Our MC threatens to cut off his hand for touching Mi-do's boob, and he just laughs. Dae-soo and his girl pack up and leave town. She says she's a target because the man next to her loves her, but she doesn't feel love. She sings the Korean pop song, A Face I Wanna See by Min Hae-kyung. Evergreen listens along through a device he planted on one of them. He wonders if she already fallen in love with his victim. Later that night, they get a hotel and get it on. They drive off after a shower, and the old boy wonders if his girl would like him 15 years ago. I mean, probably not. Homegirl would be like, what, 8 years old? Evergreen does his signature move where he sends knockout gas into a hotel room. Him and his bestie watch them sleep while wearing gas masks. He probably did this a few times when he held them captive too. They didn't show up empty-handed though, because the next morning they left the prison. It's Puck's hand! He assumes that since his op knew that he wanted to cut off the nigga's hand, that means he's been bugged. The most logical place it could be is his shoe. So he takes it to a cobbler to get it debugged, and he was right. They search Evergreen on Google to see what comes up, and the name of a high school catches their ear. One nice ass transition later, and they're in the school looking through the yearbook. Dae-soo is on the phone with Ju Hwan, calling out names to see if anyone sounds familiar. They see a girl's face cut out and identify her as Lee Soo-ah. Although this happened after Dae-soo moved schools, she killed herself by jumping off a bridge because of some nasty rumors. When Dae-soo asks what she was like, he says,
I remember her, she was the slut.
He goes on and on about how she would let anyone slide and she would hand out her pum pum to anyone. Evergreen is in the same internet cafe listening while he's shit talking this dead girl. He takes the CD out of the PC, breaks it in half, and plunges that shit into Ju Hwan's neck. The killer hops on the mic and says that they were talking about his sister. Reasonable crash out then, bro. I'd do the same. He said that since he debunked the shit, we had to go all the way there to spy on them. So technically, the death is on Dae-soo's hands. They go to Park's dentist to get his contact info. When they're there, they visit his old cell and discuss the possibility of tracking down that motherfucker together. Park is pissed about his hand, so he agrees. They lock up Mi-do to keep her safe, although she does scream in protest. I hate the way she's treated in this movie. Like most women in action movies, she's just a liability for the MC instead of her own character. When he looked through the yearbook, he found an ad for a hair salon. He visits it and one of the stylists tells him her opinion on Evergreen's sister. She explains that Soo-ah wasn't a slut. She was a modest girl, but there was this one guy she was fucking with. Calls up her homegirl and asks who the girl's man was. She says she doesn't remember, but she knows the late Ju Hwan told her. We get a flashback of our main character in high school. He sees Soo-ah sitting on a bench and tries to spit some game. She's initially attracted to his looks, but as soon as he opens his mouth, she's turned off and leaves. Later, he writes an obscene message on the chalkboard along the lines of, "So long, suckers," and notices someone running outside. We get this amazing scene where the modern day Dae-soo and his high school self are chasing this guy around school. One trying to find out what's happening and the other trying to remember. They find the girl that rejected him in a classroom playing around with a guy with a camera. Puts the camera down and they start getting freaky, but stop when they realize they have an audience. Later, when Ju Hwan is helping him move, he spills the beans about what he saw. He leaves and says he's going on a date with a hairstylist's friend, thus starting the rumors leading to his sister's death. While talking to Mi-do, he reveals that the reason he gave July 5th as the final date was because that's the day his sister went swimming. She said that since he found out who he is, they can run away and be free, but he says he has to finish this. Using some subtle hints like the poem about freedom and the fact that Big Green said he lives in a high tower, he tracks down his location. He gets into an elevator and tries to get on the right floor, but the man of the hour and his bodyguard step onto the lift. Before he left, Mi-do prayed for his success and he took one of their toothbrushes. He goes up to his apartment and two of his goons instantly attack our main character. He uses the toothbrush to officially kill both those dudes. He tells Evergreen, real name Lee Woo-jin, that he found out that he slept with his sister and that he spread the rumors that made her end her own life. Now that he's done his part by solving the mystery, he has to do his part and die. Woo-jin says the rumor went from him sleeping with his sister to him getting her pregnant. And she started believing it so much that her tummy grew too. Dae-soo has a different idea of how it went down. He finds a picture on the wall taken the same day that she died. He theorized that he actually did get her pregnant and killed her because he was ashamed that his nephew was also his kid. Evergreen disregards that theory to tell a better story. He tells a tale of how he hypnotized two people into falling in love with each other. He laments that the whole time his plaything was asking the wrong question, why he was locked up instead of why he was set free. He uses a laser pointer to tell him to open a box, unboxing containing a photo album. That's right, y'all. Mi-do was his daughter! We even get a shot that parallels the first scene. After learning this, he grabs some scissors and tries to attack Woo-jin, but his bodyguard steps in and tosses him around like a rag doll. He tells him to let him go, but he refuses, so he pops him in the head. God damn. He says it was foolish for him to trust Park. He mentions that for his hand, he bought him the whole building. Dae-soo gets a call from her saying that she has a purple box in front of her and he begs her not to open it. He also begs Evergreen not to tell Mi-do, said that if he does, he'll kill him brutally. He goes back to begging. Old habits die hard, I guess. Hey, maybe I should cover that movie. Let me know in the comments if y'all would like that. Starts groveling and literally licking his boots. Evergreen is delighted to see this man crumble before him. Lee Woo-jin, I'm watching your stream, bro. Why are you trying not to laugh? That's disrespectful as shit. Earlier, Evergreen said his dick didn't get his sister pregnant. Dae-soo's tongue did. So he cuts it out of his mouth. Dear Lord. He didn't even ask for that. He just did that. It works because he tells Pak not to open the box. Now that he's successfully got his revenge, Woo Jin says he got no will to live anymore and tosses the remote to his pacemaker. Dae-soo presses that shit, but instead of his op dropping dead, the speakers blast the audio of him unknowingly fucking his daughter. That's diabolical. Movie of the year, every year since its release. When Woo Jin steps into the elevator, we get another scene that blends the past and the present. We get a scene of what really happened on the bridge that day. He held her above the water, begging her not to let go, but her mind's made up. She pulls herself up and takes a selfie with her camera, telling him not to forget her. As hard as he tries to hold her, she still slips out of his hands and falls to her death. His hands form an invisible gun. He cocks back the hammer and pulls the trigger, ending his own life. This character was the best representation of that Hillcock's poem from earlier. When he was happy and joyful, he was surrounded by his goons and lackeys. But whenever he remembered his sister, they were nowhere to be found. We see the same hypnotist from earlier reading a letter Dae-soo wrote to explain what happened to him and what he wants erased from his memory. Before she goes through it, she says she fucks with the last line.
그들의 마음이 움직였어요.
Splits his personality into two, one who knows the secret and one who doesn't, and kills the one who does. After the hypnosis, Mido finds him in the snowy forest and hugs him. The movie ends with him smiling after she tells him she loves him, but he cringes, suggesting that maybe the personality that knows is still alive after all.
15 people died in the entire movie. With a runtime of 119 minutes, that leaves us with a kill on average every 7 minutes and 56 seconds.
The award for coolest kill is a tie between Lee Woo Jin and the guy that jumped off the building. Woo Jin because I thought the finger gun killing him was so cool. That his sister being the last thing he ever thought of was sweet, despite their relationship. I say the jumper because I thought it was really funny. Award for the lamest kill goes to Mr. Han. I don't like how he was unceremoniously killed by his closest ally. It just goes to show that since he got his revenge, nothing else mattered to him.